Our next guest has been on the show before, Senator Malcolm Roberts, who's been doing an amazing job as one of the few politicians who's not controlled by the globalist elite, speaks his mind. He represents the One Nation Party. Let's welcome Senator Malcolm Roberts. Malcolm, welcome back to the show. How's things?
Thank you very much, Jamie. It's good to be here. Things are going well. Just one correction. I don't represent One Nation. I represent the people of Queensland and Australia. I am in One Nation, though, and very proudly so.
Yeah, very good clarification there. So speaking obviously of 2024, another crazy year. God knows what's in store for us in 2025. But let's firstly talk about Trump election. Did you expect him to win? Was it, what's your view on Trump winning? Did you expect it, or you were surprised that they didn't rig the election this time?
First of all, I'm delighted Donald Trump is President of the United States. I'm delighted that RFK is his pick for Health and Human Services, and so many other things that I've seen. Delighted that Elon Musk seems to be on the right track. Vivek Guruswamy is in the position he's in with Doge as well. So I'm very, very happy. I'm also happy because you've pointed out that Donald Trump is not a globalist. He knows that the globalists are running and they've hijacked and co-opted America. So I'm very pleased that Donald Trump is there because he's the only president in recent memory that has not started a war and has tried to stop wars, and he's been pretty effective at that. So I'm very happy for the planet's sake, very happy for America's sake, because America has been stolen by the globalists, co-opted by the globalists, hijacked by the globalists, and Donald Trump understands that, and he will get it back. So I'm really pleased for our country's sake as well.
Yeah, it's certainly, of course, a lot of us hope that, on the right of politics, but I think it was interesting that there's a lot of people on, you'd probably say, center-left of politics that decided that, the Democrats have gone so far left or extreme left or crazy that a lot of them voted for Trump. They may have not mentioned they were voting for Trump. I remember many years ago when Pauline Hanson was getting a lot of traction, a lot of people didn't admit socially they were going to vote for Pauline, but actually ended up voting for her. I sense that was happening this time as well. A lot of Democrats didn't say, so it never shows up in the polls exactly how well Trump was going to do. Do you think, a type of Trump personality could ever come to power in Australia, or at least, a minor party become a major party?
Well, let's have a look at what Donald Trump had to do and his background, where he's come from. First of all, I didn't answer another part of your first question, Jamie, and that was that did I think Trump would win? I had no clue, because the Democrats clearly hijacked the last election, and they did a coup d'etat on Donald Trump. No, there's no doubt about that in my mind whatsoever. We've seen so much evidence since. So I didn't know if they'd be able to fix it. But what has really impressed me about Donald Trump's election victory is that the Republican Party got straight on to attempts to steal the election very, very early on in the campaign, and they maintained that pressure. So that stopped Donald Trump losing the election. But in addition, he showed a remarkable revival in the Republican Party with control of both houses, the Senate and the House of Representatives, and the presidency. And the presidency was emphatic. There's no doubt about that. People wanted him in America. People are tired of the losers in the Democratic Party that have sold their country down the drain. It's also telling that Robert F. Kennedy Jr., a staunch Democrat from the Democratic family in the United States, said his best shot at making the reforms was not to run as president, but to run as part of Trump's campaign. He endorsed Donald Trump, which was remarkable given what he said about Donald Trump in his book, The Real Anthony Fauci. So I think RFK, to his credit, has swallowed his pride and acknowledged his errors, seen that he's not an opportunist, he's not a speculative sort of person. So he's swallowed his pride, come up and stood up with integrity and supported Donald Trump, and I think that's really telling. So I think the whole thing was a wonderful performance from Donald Trump. But the other thing about Donald Trump is that he is wealthy. So could it happen in Australia? Well, in all of the Five Eyes countries, we have a red versus blue party. So it's very, very difficult. It's entrenched. Donald Trump had the money and the background. I don't see anyone in Australia who could become Prime Minister through the lower house in this country and win government seats at the moment. One Nation has very similar policies, very nationalist policies, populist policies. We take pride in being populist because that's what the people want. They want policies for the population, for the populace. So we are the only ones who could come close, but we're not in the hunt at the moment because we don't have representatives in the House of Representatives. So we're the only hope in that sense, but it'll take us some time.
Yeah, it leads me to, because the Queensland election, I think, One Nation, obviously, I think most people assume was disappointing results. What was your read on that? Why is it? Because the election they're doing, the AEC, the way it's done is to make it extremely hard, of course, for minor parties to get any traction. But is there more voters really for One Nation than showing up? Are the elections potentially being rigged against minor parties or just made difficult against minor parties? Or, can One Nation ever become a credible third-party threat? Like you see, let's say Nigel Farage in England, he has the potential with his Reform Party to become possibly the next Prime Minister. Obviously, Trump was able to almost hijack the Republican platform. Do we need to hijack the Liberal platform and, make the Liberals be what they're meant to be to get someone into power? Or you're saying with the makeup of the lower house, etc., it's much harder for minor parties to do a Trump or Nigel Farage?
Well, what Liberal platform? There is no Liberal platform, classical Liberal platform left in this country. It's been hijacked by the globalists. We've got the Liberals now are following Labor policies. There's very little difference, Jamie, and I'm sure you're aware of this, between the Liberals and Labor Party policies. And there's very little, in essence, between the fundamentals of the Greens policies and the Liberal and Labor parties. We've seen Keith Pitt today mention he's going to resign, and he criticised David Littleproud for being too close to the Liberals, just following the Liberals. Well, the Liberals are following the globalists, so let's wipe that issue for a start. My take on the Queensland election is that we did extremely well, but we didn't do as well as we expected, I think, as many people expected, because, and I'll explain that reason. So we increased our vote from 7.2% to 8.1%. In a state, Queensland's the only state without an upper house. If we were like every other state and had an upper house, we'd have 3, maybe 4 candidates who would have been elected to the upper house. So that's fine. But we increased our vote quite substantially. It would have been even higher, but for the traditional lead up to an election in which Labor Party and Liberal Party say Labor, Liberal, Labor, Liberal, Labor, Liberal. The media, which is supporting the advertising from the Labor and Liberal Party and depends upon them in government for their advertising revenue, say Liberal, Labor, Liberal, Labor. We had an outstanding candidate. We had many, many outstanding candidates, but we had an outstanding candidate as our leader, James Ashby in Keppel. Now, James was not invited to the debates. It was only Christopherly versus Miles. Liberal, Labor, Liberal, Labor. It's every